They needed to create something that was safe, that was comfortable, and that was easy clean. It is extremely easy to make something anti-slip. There's not an issue with that. But where it becomes complicated is when you try to make it comfortable at the same time. That's not so easy. So this was the issue that they had. But whilst if they were able to make something safe and something comfortable, that's great. But I don't know if anybody has experience with anti-slip pans or that anti-slip surface, but they're notoriously difficult to keep clean. And when you can't keep something clean, that's what makes it slippy, because it's that contaminant between the anti-slip surface and your food. So it makes it slippy. So the easy clean side was absolutely vital. So after they went into this project, and after 4 years of research and 42 different prototypes, they also brought in the help of the aerospace tooling industry, and they created what is now the SENSTEC anti-slip shower pan. And you can see in the background of that slide there, that's the pattern that's on the surface of the shower pan. And it's that space, the height of those dimples, the shape of those dimples, and the spacing of those dimples is what led to this product being given a US, a UK, and European patents. Now, that patents tell you that this is something special. There is nothing like this in the world. It is a unique product. It really is something different, and they don't hand these out just for no reason. So from there, what that gave them the belief of that this was now the beginning in life, in industries, things change, and we go on a journey. And just like we went from the computer to the internet to now we're on to AI, we're at the beginning of the next generation of anti-slip shower trays. And SENSTEC is the beginning, and SENSTEC is absolutely the bar. And we are hugely excited about it. So this is a typical shower pan that you could see here. It is made of stone resin with a gel coating. Now, that is solid. That you would struggle on a say a 4 foot by 3 foot shower tray. You'll struggle to lift it. It is solid as a rock. So coming over here, we decided we were going to do 10 different sizes, or rectangular, and we would just do them in white. But that doesn't mean to say that people can't get what they have in the UK. And then what would be a custom order in the UK, they do 40 different shapes and sizes of the shower pan, and they will do it in absolutely any color that you want, any raw color. It can be adapted as a special order. Things are really taking off in the UK, and people are really starting to understand the benefits of the SENSTEC tray. We have companies that no longer supply standard anti-slip shower pans and will only supply SENSTEC. Now, the difference between SENSTEC and other shower pans is there's different kinds of anti-slip surfaces. And most anti-slip surfaces are applied surfaces. So something has been done to the surface and added to the surface to make it anti-slip. Now, that would either be like a sticker or some kind of paint or coating that's been put on top of a traditional shower pan, just a standard shower pan. This coating has been applied. Now, the downside, now, whilst it's great, everybody should have an anti-slip shower pan, whether it's an applied coating or whether it's an integrated design like SENSTEC. But the downside of the applied coatings is that they will degrade over time. The manufacturers will have somewhere between, it needs to be replaced between 3 and 5 years. And what you see, and I'm sure we've all seen it, I had it in my last house, that whilst my shower pan was white, there was this sort of grey bit up the middle that was the shower panel. And it didn't matter what I did, I could not get that clean. And when you're trying to get something to clean something, you start putting a bit of elbow grease in it, you start scrubbing a bit harder, and you start adding chemicals. And all the while, the more you scrub and the more you add chemicals, this is just degrading this thing further. And so that's where we jump back to that a clean surface is such an important thing on an anti-slip shower tray. So you've got that applied coating side, but as you'll see, and I hope you're able to pick that up within the photograph there, you can see the dimples that go across the SENSTEC shower pan. And so what's special about that is it's part of the actual tray. It's part of the mold of the tray. And so that's never ever going to wear off. And as I said, with the patent that's on it, it's about the height, the spacing, and the size of those dimples. And so when you stand on that surface, what it does is it gives you the friction, it helps your foot stick, it's slightly breaks the connection of your foot with a flat surface, and that's what gives you the grip. But the beauty of this, because all the spacing in between, it naturally allows the dirt to flow to the drain, so the dirt doesn't stay. And because of the type of surface there is, and because of the shape of the surface and all those little dimples, there's nothing for dirt and grime to cling to. So that really keeps it, naturally keeps clean. But when you do have to clean it, it's really just a soft cloth, warm water, and soap. And it's a wipe down, and that's back to normal again. And those dimples and that anti-slip surface is there for the lifetime of the tray. There's no maintenance at all, other than you just give it a wipe down and keep that clean, and it'll perform in exactly the same way as it always will. So going to anti-slip, there are different ways of testing how slip resistant or anti-slip a surface is. Now, the most common and traditional way in the United States is to use what's called a tribometer. And this tribometer goes over the surface and creates a calculation, and it will tell them how anti-slip the surface is. And it's used to measure the dynamic coefficient of friction. But the problem with beforehand, when there's lots of different tests that you could do for anti-slip, and they've all got their little quirks about them. And the problem with the tribometer is the tribometer doesn't really work on rough or textured surfaces. The readings just go all over the place. So that was never ever going to be great for the SENSTEC with all those little dimples. And so the readings testing for anti-slip on a tribometer will come out like SENSTEC's like ice. It's just they're all over the map, and it doesn't work. So that leads us to look for a different kind of test. So another test that's recognized the world over is the pendulum test. Now, the pendulum test is this piece of apparatus that has a swinging arm on it and a rubber foot. And it's set up, and this arm will swing, it will make contact with the surface, and then the distance that it travels beyond that is measured. And they do this multiple times from different angles, and it gives them the output, the reading. The good thing about the pendulum test is this can be done anywhere in the world with any pendulum piece of apparatus, and the readings would be the same. It can be done anywhere. So the highest reading, the highest that they will categorize anything through the pendulum test is a PTV of 36, which is a 1 in a million chance of slipping. That's the highest that they will ever get. And to help you equate it, a 1 in a million chance of slipping, as I wrote this down here, is once every 2,739 years. Now, I wouldn't have put my house on that, I wouldn't have banked on that, but that's what 1 in a million really means when you calculate it to time. So obviously they kept going with SENSTEC, and SENSTEC actually reached a PTV of 48. Now, The highest is 36. They will not give you a reading over that. But just for the record, SENSTEC came out at 48. Now that's just mind-blowing safety. So the pendulum is one of the very common tests for using on floors, things like that. So that's okay. So here we've got this test, and it's it's a piece of apparatus, and it's a swinging foot, a swinging arm, and it's got a rubber foot on the bottom, and there's a contaminant. That's not really what it's like in a shower, is it? So one of the best tests in the world for a shower is the barefoot ramp test, the German barefoot ramp test. Now, the German barefoot ramp test is just that. What it's done is it's a piece of apparatus. Now, this apparatus is so big that this test has to be done in sort of laboratory type conditions. And they have this apparatus, and they take a sample piece. So if we use SENSTEC as the sample piece, and it's about 4 foot by 2 foot wide, and they have this sample. They lay the sample down on this apparatus. They have the person is going to test it, and they soak their feet in warm water for 10 to 15 minutes before they do the test. The person then stands on the apparatus, and they're harnessed in, because we don't want anybody to fall. So they're harnessed in, and then they start spraying warm water and soap over the top of the surface. And the person starts walking backwards and forwards slowly to the beat of a metronome, actually. But they walk backwards and forwards all the while warm water and soap are being sprayed onto the surface, onto the sample surface. Now, the apparatus then starts slowly inclining, and it'll get steeper and steeper. Now, the person's very aware that it's inclining, but they don't know how much it's inclining. And obviously, they do this, and once it gets to a certain angle, once the person slips, that gives them the reading, if you want, for how slip resistant the surface is. Now, they test this multiple times, and they test it with multiple people to get the reading. So the highest, back to like what they'll give the highest reading. The highest reading they will give is a Class C. Don't know why it wasn't a Class A. That was just to confuse people. But the highest thing you could get is a Class C from the barefoot ramp test. And that's when that shower tray reaches an angle of 24 degrees. So, but they kept going. And so the SENSTEC reached 30 degrees. Now, 30 degrees, that's an unbelievable angle to be on without slipping. All the while, walking backwards and forwards, all the while, warm, soapy water has been pumped onto that, and the person stood without slipping at 30 degrees. If you didn't slip at 30 degrees, can you imagine just how safe that shower pan is when it's on the flat? And to me, this test, if you get a chance, please look through my social media on the website. I'm not sure, I think the video's on the website somewhere, but find the barefoot ramp test. It is a fantastic test to see. It is so visual. It really is. And you really understand just how amazing this product is. So we decided how we were able to prove then how fantastically anti-slip this product was. So that was the first on the list. But remember, safe, comfort, and easy clean. So we ticked off the safe. So then they decided, well, we need the comfort side. And they brought in the podiatry department of the University of Ulster to do a user study on the SENSTEC tray. So they gathered a whole load of people to test this. And every study, every study has its quirks. But what was amazing was that with this study, was that it started coming out with words like massage and reflexology. And that, nobody really expected that. So when they did the test, after the test, they found 100% of users felt rock solid stability while they were showering. Over 75% experienced total confidence in its anti-slip properties. 88% found the pan to be a true comfort zone, and 80% were so impressed that they'd have it installed in their own homes. That was just off the charts. Nobody expected it to come back. And so, but what that did was that gave it a big pass mark on just how comfortable that is. Now, I was the same the first time I saw it, that you think, oh, those dimples, it's going to be, no, that's going to be a nightmare to stand on. But it's not. Massage, reflexology, it's actually pleasant to the foot, and it's an enjoyable experience. So there we go. They ticked off the comfortable side of things. So finally, they had to come up with easy clean. How were they going to prove that it was easy clean? They decided to contact they installed a whole load of showers in the Drummeland Castle Hotel in Ireland, 5-star luxury hotel, and they used them as a case study. And it came back unbelievably positive. The SENSTEC shower tray has proved to be a revelation. It's a unique anti-slip feature, which is invaluable from health and safety perspective. It's an exceptionally clean, elegant finish and is luxurious to use. And the key part, our housekeeping team have found them very easy to maintain using their eco-friendly cleaning products. So that was the final tick. They proved that it was safe. They proved that it was comfortable to stand on, and they proved that it was easy to clean. Again, here's a close-up of the SENSTEC tray, and you could see the little dimples there on the tray. And that is SENSTEC.